Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm LIANA for LIANAVibes.com, and in today's video we're going to talk about narcissism. This term is used very frequently today, but the most important question when leaving a toxic or abusive relationship is, was I or am I the narcissist? We're going to answer this question. Before I begin, please like and subscribe so we can vibe on the constant. And now, let's get into the video. The past months, I really dug deep into the study of narcissism. I went to therapy, I bought a plethora of books, watched a lot of videos, and more. The top 3 books I would highly recommend for you to check out are Should I Stay or Should I Go? Surviving a Relationship with a Narcissist by Dr. Ramani. Don't You Know Who I Am? Also by Dr. Ramani. And The Wizard of Oz and Other Narcissists by Eleanor D. Payson, MSW. Dr. Ramani has her own YouTube channel, and her work and videos are a plethora of information. I highly recommend you checking it out. Link of her channel is in the description box below. I first want to start off by reading a piece from The Wizard of Oz and Other Narcissists. This is from page 17, and it reads, "A person who has psychological pain and is able to self-reflect will generally recognize that he is responsible to work on himself. On the other hand, the character disordered person is unable to see his problems and expects others to take responsibility instead. Consequently, the deep and severe disturbance of an NPD person, which is a narcissistic personality disordered person, is primarily seen in the pain he or she inflicts on others. Perhaps the situation becomes more clear if we say it in this way. The character disordered person is so disturbed that he is unable to see that he has a problem, while the individual with a particular neurosis is overall healthier, but unable to recognize her strengths. Therefore, the individual with neurotic issues needs help to identify her strengths and capabilities so that she can move on and enjoy her life." And a little further down the page, it reads, "The capacity for observing yourself and working on these characteristics is the critical distinction between having narcissistic traits and the full-blown disorder." This book is really good, and I highly recommend you checking it out if you have a chance. So the general premise is this. When a relationship ends with a narcissistic person, you have learned incredible self-doubt and your self-worth is in the gutter. And as you try to uncover where you went wrong, these are the following characteristics that you are not the narcissistic person. 1. You have empathy. You're going to need to think back really hard at your memories. And be fair. Don't try to be nice. Be objective. Where did your partner show up with severe and offensive lack of empathy? Sometimes this is very obvious, and sometimes it's hidden, but it's there, and often consistent. 2. Ask yourself, were their needs and desires for the betterment of you as a couple, or for their own grandiosity? Every individual comes into a relationship with their own unique needs and desires. If you find yourself desiring more closeness, more transparency, more intimacy, and more honesty, because there is none, you're probably not the problem. 3. Did they have inappropriate or non-existent boundaries when it came to the gender they are attracted to? How about exes? You've probably seen that link floating around somewhere about that study published by the Journal of Personality and Individual Differences that shows that psychopaths are more likely to stay friends with their exes because they feel they can still get something out of the connection even after the relationship has ended. This feeds into a narcissist's only fuel and motivation: narcissistic supply. For more information about this particular study, check out the description box below. 4. Were you always accused that you needed to change when their poor or harmful behaviors were called out? This cycles back to point number 1. If you're trying to increase being seen by your partner, having empathy and care from your partner, feeling appreciated and validated by your partner, and instead you are emotionally neglected and abandoned, this neglect will turn into an insidious problem within the relationship. A narcissist will call you out, blame you for being too controlling, too jealous, too crazy. This is all their deflection, and their favorite tool of gaslighting, and their inability of self-reflection. Narcissists are unable to self-reflect. So the only problem in the equation, since they can't look at themselves, is you. 5. Lack of accountability, ownership, or self-reflection. As Dr. Ramani expresses in a lot of her videos and her work, narcissists do not change, period. They can change their behavior, but they can't change the formation of their brain or the way that it's wired. Unfortunately, neuroplasticity doesn't apply here. This is fundamentally who they are and who they will always be. They jump from host to host, getting their narcissistic supply. They have neither the time, the desire, the willingness, or the resources to change. Because change requires self-reflection. In their world, you are always the problem. And in their eyes, there's nothing for them to work on at all. Number 6, and my last point, if you are researching if you might be the narcissist, you're probably not the narcissist. Relationships require invested people in it, sharing the same goals, having the same priorities. If you need to put in more work to get your partner to be honest, forthcoming, and empathetic, I'm sorry, but you don't have a relationship. These aren't things that you should be teaching another person. It's either they've cultivated on their own in their own lives and something they value, or something they've atrophied and can no longer use at all. It's very sad. No matter how much you change and improve yourself, in the eyes of a narcissist, you will never be seen for the worth and value that you intrinsically have. Now, we all have narcissistic traits. All of us. We all desire to be seen, acknowledged, appreciated, heard, etc. What sets one apart from a narcissist is a lack of empathy. Lack of empathy. Empathy is the antithesis of narcissism. Empathy makes you think about your actions and how it might affect another. To have foresight and the consideration, and to take ownership of the consequences of your choices. And don't be fooled, this isn't about giving cash to the unfortunate, volunteering at your local shelter, or donating blood, etc. Many narcissists do this, not out of the generosity of their own heart, but because it drives that fundamental need for a narcissistic supply of their grandiosity. Their grandiosity is what gives them that feeling of entitlement. It's all about the intention behind the action, not the action itself. I will close out today's video with another piece from the book, The Wizard of Oz and Other Narcissists. This is from page 10, and it reads, "We all have some of what may be termed narcissistic needs, such as the need to be valued, admired, understood, or simply recognized as being a unique person. During painful periods, we become much more narcissistic or self-centered, and our demands for attention, mirroring, validation, etc. increase. However, when we feel better, we generally return to a baseline ability to reciprocate in our relationships. Instead of only taking, we give and take by listening, understanding, validating, and supporting others." Well, that's all for today's video. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that was informative and helpful. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye for now. Waiting daylight, get back.